I don't think the general manager does believe in Sam Darnold, and I think the head coach can rationalize it out, the new head coach, whoever might that be, and they've got to work hand in hand to ultimately make a decision on Darnold. But if Douglas is telling the morning guys this morning, Boomer and Gio, that his scouting department has been working on the draft since May of 2020, and you and I have gone through the notion that Joe Douglas has an idea of what Sam Darnold is, and we've been told by other people that cover the Jets, no, he hasn't made a decision yet on Sam Darnold. I believe that Joe Douglas has made a decision on Sam Darnold about what he believes he is as a quarterback, and I think he left all options open yesterday and today with his third-year signal caller.
Listen, if you believe that Sam Darnold is a franchise quarterback going into year 3, or you at least want to see whether or not he's actually a franchise quarterback, then are you really, basically sending up the white flag after you trade Jamal Adams for 2 first-round picks? No, right? Okay. Here's something I want to say about Joe Douglas, Moose, because you and I give him a lot of credit for the maneuverings behind the scenes. I called the Jets tank from week 1. I thought he was the mastermind here to try to get Trevor Lawrence. Brilliant, right? I mean, not necessarily a new strategy, but a brilliant strategy with Lawrence sitting there. About Adam Gase, Douglas has been waiting this whole time to be a general manager, and so he knows Gase isn't the guy, right? So he's willing to, kind of not give the best roster possible, and Gase will be out, and then Douglas will be able to get his own guy. And I have these ideas about Douglas, and it's partly because people have been so high on him on how good of a personnel guy he's been behind the scenes for franchises who have been super successful. To be fair, though, every time I hear Joe Douglas actually talk, and I'm not trying to say, some people are better with the media than not, that's fine, but it always kind of leaves me wanting a little more. You know what I'm saying? Right? If you are the personnel guy, I understand you have to keep things close to the vest because you have that second overall pick. But doesn't it always kind of seem like, you have these vague ideas about what you're looking for in the next head coach? The stuff we've heard all the time, leadership, collaboration, okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Where's, the conviction on any of this stuff? It's not necessarily Joe Douglas's job to get the fan base riled up, but he sure as hell doesn't think it's part of his job. He can't. Because the way that he talks about this team is almost like he's just afraid of saying the wrong thing in a soundbite that's going to come back to bite him like the Jamal Adams one. And you know what? That's fine, because that could be learning on the job. Because when you say you're going to make someone a Jet for life and then it ends up with that person's in Seattle now, then yeah, maybe you don't. But I'm starting to think about is this guy, you're talking about what you want from a head coach and all this leadership. Am I getting the leadership from my general manager? I don't know. See, this is the crossroads that we're at here with Douglas. I'm not trying to be unfair. I'm not trying to be unfair, but Moose, this is the crossroads because this coaching hire is so important and what they do with Darnold is so important. I've had these ideas about who Joe Douglas has been behind the scenes, but I'm wondering now, now I guess I need the proof.
Yeah, I guess, but what do you want to hear from Douglas? What didn't you hear from Douglas the last day and a half that you want to hear from Joe Douglas, where it bothered you, where you're questioning his command or his leadership? Unless I'm reading you wrong, I mean, that's the way it's coming.
This is what I would say, Moose. I understand wanting to be collaborative with the new head coach. Totally understand. That's a great message to send. And actually, that's how good franchises work, right? When everything's copacetic. I get that. There's also something, though, where you are, in theory, if you come from a scouting background and you've risen to the level of general manager, you are the smartest football guy in the room. Not X's and O's, not, how to market the team, not all of that. You come from scouting. You are someone who it's your job to figure out who has potential and who doesn't. Sam Darnold, the answer should be there for you, right? I mean, I think we're getting the answer, but he's leaving it kind of open. I don't know. I feel like Maggie, I'm always wanting more here with Douglas.
See, I think Douglas does have the leadership qualities. I think you could be different with the media than you are, say, behind the scenes. It doesn't bother me. Are you all right? I'm watching Maggie on Zoom. The water just went down the wrong way. Anyway, for Douglas here, Maggie, though, I look at what he had to say about Sam Darnold I personally feel that the message is clear for me when I'm reading in between the lines yesterday, this morning. He likes Sam as a player. He wants to probably trade Sam Darnold. He looks at Sam as having a future in the National Football League. He doesn't necessarily look at Sam Darnold having a future here with the Jets. He said he had an open, honest conversation with Darnold. He said he wanted to keep it to himself. He's not going to let you know what he told his third-year quarterback. But for Joe Douglas, if he's looking at the landscape and looking at just how short-lived some of these jobs are in the National Football League, for him, it makes better sense to just reset at the quarterback spot. It makes better sense for a new coach to want to do a reset at the quarterback spot. But you have to believe in that quarterback. You have to believe that Fields and or Wilson are the guy with the second overall pick. You don't just draft a quarterback, especially that high, just for the sake of drafting a quarterback because you don't believe that Sam Darnold is the answer at the quarterback spot. I don't look at what he said. I look at what he said over the last day and a half as keeping all options open.
Good.
I think, I think that's the way that I look at it. I mean, I look at it where he's not going to tell you and project. This is the same general manager, mind you, that told you that he had every intention of signing Jamal Adams. The Jets had no intention of signing Jamal Adams, and then they ended up trading Jamal Adams to the Seattle Seahawks. Same guy. So now you take that history and you put it into this equation and you listen to what he has to say about Sam Darnold, and I think you're listening to a general manager that I think from taking all emotion out of it, he might like Sam Darnold as a person. I think he's already made a decision from a personnel perspective about what Sam Darnold is as a player, open, honest, taking the emotion out of it, but he wants to keep all options open because he's not going to make a declarative, bold statement before a head coach comes in.